Hi, I'm Amanda Morgan, and this is Not Just Cute, the podcast, where we discuss all kinds of topics relating to intentional whole child development and supporting the critical work of parents and teachers of young children. I have to confess that some of my best writing comes from experiences I have while I'm teaching or presenting somewhere. Maybe that's part of why I love speaking and training so much. I get to see the words that I use, the primary tool of my craft, not just through my own lens, but through the many different lenses in the room. And that synergy that comes while I'm working with a room full of people who are passionate about child development like I am, well, it just really charges me up and it gets my brain going. So I had one of those experiences just this past summer where I was working with just an amazing group of teachers at a preschool in Florida. And I was doing my usual thing and working in my groove when the director said, I just want to repeat something that you said because I think it's really important. Play is efficient. I love that. We have to remember that play is efficient. And so I had to scribble it down on a piece of paper because I'd probably used that phrase, I don't even know, so many times before, but I hadn't actually realized the power that resonated in that phrase. Because especially in a training, teachers don't need to be told that they need to do 100 new things. They need to hear how to do all the things they probably already know they should be doing in the finite time that they have to do it in. So I wrote it down to remind myself to really focus on it and write it up as a post on Not Just Cute. And today, I'm sharing a second read version of that post, which I finally sat down to write recently. Now, if you're not familiar with second reads, I'll fill you in really quickly here. That's where I read the post, much like an audiobook, so that you can take it in without actually sitting down to read it. It's perfect for you multitaskers who are listening while you drive to work or go for a run or make dinner or whatever it is that you have to multitask. You can find show notes for this episode along with a link to the original post at notjustcute.com/podcast/episode 20. You'll also find a link there to learn more about a project I've been working on, and I'm hoping to wrap it up soon. I know, who is crazy enough to try to tackle a big new project during the holiday season? Well, apparently I am. This new project is called Why We Play. And technically it's a series of ebooks, but it's so much more than that. But let me back up and tell you a little bit about the why behind the project before I try to explain what it is. So when I work with teachers, whether it's in conferences or staff trainings or interacting in online forums, one of the things I hear over and over again is, I know that play is important, but how do I get other people to understand how important play is? Or how do I get people to appreciate that what they see as quote unquote just play in my classroom is really a powerful tool for learning and development? So many teachers know that play is critically important for young children and that it's the best method for teaching and learning in the early years. And these teachers are putting all this work into perfecting their craft, into prepping their environment and creating the activities, and then just the emotional and physical energy and love that they put into every single day of teaching, that when they find out that they also have to educate the parents in the class or their administrators or their coworkers, well, it can start to feel like an extra burden that they just don't have the bandwidth for. Does that sound familiar to anyone? If so, then you are the person I'm writing Why We Play for. So let me tell you what it is. Why We Play is a series of letters written from the vantage point of the preschool to the parents. Each letter explains one facet of play and why it's important in the lives and development of young children and how it's implemented in the classroom. The letters can be printed and attached to your weekly newsletter, or attached as a PDF for those of you with emailed newsletters, or they could just stand alone as a weekly parent communication piece. So whether you're trying to get people to see that the dramatic play area actually promotes literacy, or that snack time is about more than just filling the empty bellies, or if you're just explaining what the deal is with all this messy sensory play, well then this ebook series will have you covered. So find the link in the show notes, or go directly to notjustcute.com/whyweplay to find out how to let Why We Play help you with home engagement and advocacy. Because we need more people out there defending play. But people won't defend what they don't value, and they won't value what they don't understand. You can help the people around you to understand, value, and defend the power of play by sharing why we play with them. And now, without further ado, let's jump into this second read of Play is Efficient. I have never met an early childhood teacher who complained about not having enough to do. No matter where I travel, whether it's a conference or a group training, I've never had a teacher say, I just wish they would give me a few more things to do. No one has ever said that there aren't enough activities to plan, standards to follow, objectives to reach, or children to give their undivided attention to. Quite the opposite. What I do hear is, how am I supposed to do it all? Most early childhood teachers feel like they're juggling a dozen eggs, just trying to keep from dropping one. And so when I talk about the importance of play in early childhood, I also hear, how do I find time for play? Once the curriculum is covered, we don't have much time left. But here's the secret, the big perspective shift. Play isn't one more egg to add to your juggling act. Play is the basket to put them in. Because in play, children naturally work on multiple objectives at once. Play is efficient. With worksheets and direct instruction, we often focus on just one task at a time. This is a math worksheet. This is a handwriting worksheet. These are shape flashcards. But in play, children at the sensory table are working on motor skills, language skills, and social skills all at once as they manipulate tools, talk about their new ideas, and work together with their friends. Children at the dramatic play area are building pre-reading skills as they engage in representational play, allowing scarves to serve symbolically for soup, much like we allow letter arrangements to serve symbolically for words and ideas. At the same time, they're also working on emotional awareness as they gauge their friends' feelings in their storyline, and math skills as they set one dish down for each person at the table, showing one-to-one correspondence. At the art table, several children are using their fine motor skills to glue a variety of shapes onto a page to form a collage. They're exploring geometry with the shapes as they not only name them, but flip them and rotate them, finding just the right spot to glue them down. Their creativity and problem solving are in full gear as they take loose parts and pull them together to make their own unique designs. Social skill practice is a given for any child sitting at a table with other children working with common materials. And language? Have you ever eavesdropped on the chatter that comes from a cluster of children, each intent on bringing something from imagination to form on a piece of paper? You can't script a language experience like that. We have to stop thinking of play as something we do after the curriculum is done. Play is the curriculum. As Fred Rogers told us, play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning. But for children, play is serious learning. Play is really the work of childhood. As I've said many times before, play is the method, learning is the outcome. Separating them creates a false dichotomy. It's not an either-or scenario. Play and learning are method and outcome. Because it's in play that the best early learning happens, and where it happens most efficiently. If a school says they don't have time to play, I would argue that school doesn't have time not to play. If time is of the essence, then bring play in to increase your efficiency. Play is the ultimate multitasker. Thanks again for listening to Not Just Cute, the podcast. You can find show notes at notjustcute.com/podcast/episode 20. You'll find a link to the original post along with other interesting resources. While you're there, be sure to click the link to find out about my newest project, Why We Play. These letters will help you engage those around you in advocating for play without adding one more thing to your to-do list beyond copying and attaching. Learn more by heading to the link in the show notes or go directly to notjustcute.com/whyweplay. I'm Amanda Morgan. You can read more on my blog and sign up for the Not Just Cute newsletter at notjustcute.com. And follow me on Facebook. That's facebook.com/notjustcute. Thanks for listening today, and thank you for standing up for children and for childhood.